Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's user webinar presentation on LexisNexis PatentSight UN SDGs. I'm Allie Morton, Head of Field Marketing at LexisNexis Intellectual Property Solutions, and I would like to introduce today's presenter. With us today, we have our Client Success Manager, Sarbani. And in addition to introducing Sarbani, I'd like to just take a few seconds to cover a few housekeeping things here. During the webinar, please feel free to submit questions using the questions feature in the control panel. Also in the control panel, you will see a handouts section. This is where the slides for today's presentation will be uploaded. And then you will also receive the recording, an email with the recording and the slides and a follow-up email later today. Thank you again, everyone, for attending. And with that, I will turn it over to you, Sarbani.
Thank you, Allie. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I welcome you all to today's webinar. Today's webinar is a detailed hands-on demonstration on the newly introduced feature in LexisNexis PatentSight, the UN SDGs. This webinar is a bit heavy on content. I request you to stay with me till the end so that I can give you a detailed explanation of the project that we have introduced and also address some of the queries that are there and also show you some key insights, some interesting information, which I am eager to break it to you first, and then we will see how it goes. So I'll jump right to the content. So in our attempt to connect patents to a sustainability factor, we have followed the UN SDG. The UN SDG framework is based on the definition of sustainability that comes from the United Nations Brundtland Commission report, which is this. So as soon as we see this definition, meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations, it seems at its core, it is totally in sync with the basics of the patenting procedure. Patents are a trade-off for a monopoly for a limited period of time against the complete disclosure of the invention. So having a better present without hampering the prospect of the future. This is what the sustainability definition, what the UN follows, and this is what we are following when we are trying to connect patents to this factor of sustainability. The UN has made it clear that it is upon the countries, the organizations, private or public, to strategize accordingly so that they can move towards this attainment of these 17 goals, attaining which they expect to have a world in 2030 where there is no poverty, all people enjoy peace and prosperity. So this is what the UN says, and this framework, what they have. Moving ahead, what we have done is to show you how patents can be an indicator towards this plight towards attaining sustainability. The UN has 17 goals. Under each goal, there are specific targets which they claim that when achieved will lead to the achievement of the goal. And there are unique indicators to process, to analyze the progress towards the attainment of these targets. They have made it clear there is a detailed framework. The SDG indicator database is maintained by the Statistics Division, and there is a repository of this data which is called the metadata. Based on this framework, when we try to address how can patents be an indicator for that, let's just look into that part. So patents are territorial rights, but across the entire globe, they are generally granted for inventions in science and technology for meeting the criteria of being novel, inventive, and non-obvious, and being capable of industrial application. Every patent application has a background of R&D activity. There has been money involved, intellectual pursuits involved in coming up with an invention that fulfills these criteria. Every granted patent has the potential to impact the society in which it is protected because it has to be capable of industrial application. Patents are not granted for something that is against public order and morality, so we expect that there will be positive impact of enforced patents on the society. The next is, as we saw, it is the United Nations has made it clear the countries have to strategize accordingly to make it possible to attain the goals. Thus, there will be a spillover effect based on those strategies on the patenting activity as well. We expect that, and I expect that at the end of this webinar, you will see that it is that. The last part that is here, I learned about this while working with one of our clients last year on using patent analytics on crisis response. This is something which is extremely unique and extremely valid. Like patents are confirmatory proof of the patent owning entities having the know-how by which they can contribute to a particular field. You will see this in this due course of this webinar, how they become extremely important. But this is something which is a new thing that we have learned while we did all kind of crisis response patent analytics last year regarding the COVID-19 epidemic. So I thank the client for that. Moving ahead, what have we done with the PS UN SDG project? I'll first walk you through the methodology. I'll try to give you an example through this webinar as well. I hope I can provide you a solid explanation of what we have done. So technology topics that encompass patentable inventions. We are LexisNexis PatentSight. All LexisNexis products are in the realm of patents. So all those technology topics that encompass patentable inventions through the framework of United Nations goal, target, and indicators that can be directly and explicitly mapped to these, we have mapped these technology topics to specific goals. Where do the metadata come in? The scope and boundary of each technology topic is provided by the rationale that is present in the metadata. I'll give you a concrete example today how we have done that. Now, when we are talking that, and when you check the number of technology topics that have been mapped to the number of targets and indicators, you will see there are more targets under each goal than what we have mapped. I'll give you a concrete example today. Most recent news is Lego, the toy maker. They have decided to remove the label toys for girls and toys for boys from their products. This is an extremely valid initiative towards SDG 5 gender equality. This surely has something to do with policies, but there is no patent involved in it. Maybe trademark or copyright gets involved, but patents are not involved. We are still in the realm of patents. So we are still in that. So the technology topics that can be mapped based on patentable inventions to targets and indicators are a part of this feature that we have introduced. So when you check the number of targets and indicators under each goal, and you check the number of targets and indicators that we have mapped, those that can be patented are mapped. This is the first thing that we have to make clear. Few more very valid questions have come up which we should address. Does this process include all 17 goals? Can one technology topic map to more than one goal? As I just discussed here, when we look into the targets and indicators of these specific goals, we find they are mainly related to strategies and policies, where we did not find any technology topic that is patentable that can be explicitly or directly mapped to these goals. At present, how it stands, these are not included in the feature. However, we have kept the scope open because UN regularly reviews and updates the targets and the features, the indicators. In this update, if it ever happens that we come across some technology topic that is patentable that can be explicitly mapped to these goals, we will update it. Any update that gets introduced into the feature, we will provide you prior information of why, how, and where before that gets functional in the system. So we will keep the transparency. Please don't worry about that. Can one technology topic map to more than one goal? Yes, it can. And then I'll show you today how it does. For each technology topic, we are providing you the documentation where goals, targets, and indicators to which they explicitly map are provided. So you do get the information from the documentation about it. I'll show you in this webinar as well. Moving ahead, let's jump to the software. I have brought in as many snapshots as I can to make the experience feel as if using the software right now. Let's see how much I can do justice to that. We have tried our level best to draw your attention to the newly introduced feature. Whenever you log into the software, this pops up. When you move ahead in the analysis templates, in the favorite section, there is a new chart that is available. In the use cases, in the UN SDG section, a pre-customized set of charts and tables are available for you to do your analysis. In the enterprise playbooks, we have introduced this UN SDG workbook for you to where there are templates available there. If you want to use this feature as one of the ways of as a search filter, you can find it under technology. In this, alongside CPC, IPC, there are UN SDGs involved. So the patterns that map to this feature, you can select it from here. When we click on it, this pops up. I can select all of them and they get added to the search filter. So the patterns that map to these UN SDG goals get selected. I refresh it and I start working with it like we generally do in the software. As you see, SDG 8, 10, 16, and 17 are also included here, though the number of patents are 0. So the product team has kept the option open. Whenever there is a technology topic that can be mapped, we will bring it there. Moving ahead, when we load this into the feature, we do get the patterns that map here. And then we have introduced a new chart called the radar chart. As I spoke, you find this chart in the favorite section here. Or when you do the insert option, you see that in the chart section, there is this radar chart available. The radar chart by default, it provides you the portfolio size is used as the indicator. It is a quantitative distribution of patents that map to each goal. So even the SDG 8, 16, 17 are there, but there are no patents that map to them. There is an extra level of representation available in the radar chart, which is if I click on any one of them, I get this option to expand this, or I double click on it to expand this, which allows me to see the technologies that are included under each goal. So zero poverty SDG 1 has demographic data analytics, blockchain, and disaster management under SDG 1. However, this radar chart is not exclusive only to this UN SDG feature. You can use it for any, excuse me, any kind of representation of data that has 2 layers. As an example, this is CPC A61P35, anti-neoplastic agents. And we see the sectors are the top 20 owners. The sector size is the portfolio size. So top 20 owners having patents in this particular CPC is represented. And I expand it by the priority in. When I expand it, I see the priority authorities for filing of these patents by each owner. For example, Roche has maximum priority filing in USA, followed by the European Patent Office, followed by Japan. Sanofi has maximum priority filing in USA, followed by France, and then the European Patent Office. So if there is any kind of data that has 2 layers which you want to show in one chart, you can use the radar chart for that. Moving ahead, let's do a deep dive and let's answer the question that you are having regarding the UN SDG feature. I'll try and walk you through and I'll try to address some of the queries that you may have. When we load the UN SDG feature here, we can scroll through the goals and the technology topics under each goal. For example, if I click on this SDG 3, this tooltip will pop up, which will give me the heading of the SDG on additional information, as well as there is a PDF icon. If I click on it, I can download the fact sheet that has more information on this SDG. If I move ahead and check it, this is the first page of the documentation that pops up. What you see here is the summary. The source is still the UN SDG, and then we provide you a table where the mapping of the search topics under this goal based on the targets and the indicators are provided. Let's walk you through one example and what we show and what we have done and what is represented in the documentation. When we check the SDG 3, this is the SDG 3, which is ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. This is what we have as the SDG 3. This is the goal. One of the target is to reduce by 2030 1/3 of premature mortality due to non-communicable diseases through prevention and treatment and mental health and well-being. So this is a target, one of the targets of the goal. The indicator for these targets are mortality rate that is attributed to these diseases. Specific diseases have been mentioned here, and the suicide mortality rate. Based on this information that is available in the UN SDG framework, if you check the documentation, you will see that these are the specific search topics that have been mapped to these targets and these indicators. Why we have included only these diseases? Because when the UN will process and analyze the progress towards achievement of this target, it will see the mortality rate due to these diseases. That's why we have included them here. You may say that there are other non-communicable diseases like thyroid, hormone metabolism. UN will not be seeing the progress of the mortality rate due to that. So we have not included them as contributing to SDG 3.4 and hence resultantly SDG 3. In case you want that to be included as well, you can customize it. You can we the CSMs, we can assist you in that, and you can use an OR operator on the searches that you want to define as part of SDG 3, and you can do the analysis. Mental health has been mentioned, and so we have included mental health here. Since it is mentioned that you would like to reduce the premature mortality rate through prevention and treatment, any new invention that is patentable or that is patented in this field of new surgical and diagnostic methods of non-communicable diseases, we claim that they also contribute to achievement of SDG 3.4. Hence, this is included. This is the documentation that is available. We try to make the methodology clear to you like this. At the technology level, if you see, you will see that this is, if you scroll through each technology and you click on it, for example, this is mental health. Mental health is my favorite topic for this webinar. You will see it more and more. There are reasons for it, and I'll share with you the reasons as well. So when you see that, click on it, the tooltip will pop up where you see this is the definition, and there is a download option for the PDF fact sheet. 10th October is the World Mental Health Day, and we are still in the month of October. That is one reason that I have chosen this, and there are other reasons as well. I'll come to that shortly. So as soon as I click here, I get the documentation. Generally, the documentation that we have is expected to be one page, but sometimes they do go over to more than one page. We request you to scroll through the documentation, because in the documentation for each tech topic, we provide you the scope, some of the key CPCs, some of the keywords, and we provide you the explicit list to the goals, the targets, and the indicators to which this particular tech topic maps to. Now, moving ahead, if you check it, the mental health, we provide you resource links. So there are typical source links that are available. This is the definition of mental health provided by the World Health Organization. Now, this has been, and this is very interesting and very insightful. This is the first time mental health has been recognized as one of the health priorities. Any other sustainable factors that we do come across, such as the green inventory, they do not include these. But the patent owning entities who are inventing and patenting in mental health, they are contributing towards a more sustainable world, because one of the 5 pillars of United Nations is leaving no one behind. They have followed this to the core very meticulously. We have followed them very meticulously. So you see these topics get included because of this. Moving ahead, where the metadata comes, this is the metadata, and this is the link to this for the indicator 3.4.2, which is suicide mortality rate. And the metadata provides you some key information. We have referred to the metadata because, as I said, for the scope and boundary of the tech topic. As you see here, you find the rationale behind this is mental disorders can occur across all regions. Mental disorders like depression and anxiety, at worst, they lead to suicide. Based on this that is provided here, the PatentSight technology topic of mental health, it encompasses search syntax for Alzheimer's, for Parkinson's, along with anxiety, PTSD, and other mental ailments. Why we have included that? Because our research tells that people suffering from Parkinson's do suffer from depression, and at worst, the result is suicide. Depression is also caused in patients suffering from Alzheimer's. So any kind of invention that is being patented that addresses these issues, we claim that they contribute to this particular goal and to this particular target. Moving ahead, there are some questions that come up regarding the documentation, which we think we should address. For example, there are questions like in the documentation, are only these CPCs used? Are only these keywords used? And are these used in combination? Generally, the search syntax is generated by following the general strategy where there can be a combination of keywords in title with keywords in TAC or TACD, or a combination of keyword and CPCs, combination of keywords or IPCs, combination of IPC level 5 and CPC level 5, depending upon what we want to do. Now, the search topics are, all of them are not really that general and conventional search topics for patents. For example, there is topics like demographic data analytics, sex disaggregated data management. Yes, software implemented in hardware is now patentable. So there are patents related to this, but you will agree with me that they are not really that generally possible conventional search topics. So the strategy has to be different. The strategy has to be, and there's a lot of back and forth when we try to define the search such that you get reliable results. But the attempt in the documentation is to keep it concise. That's why we provide you only few key CPCs, only few keywords. The list is definitely not exhaustive. This is just an overview of the entire search syntax. Moving ahead, let's go and check. There are some other queries also, like what is the frequency of the update of the tech topics? Can we set alerts for the tech topics? Now, thanks to the product team and the development team in the IT, they have ensured that like you see a regular weekly update of the database, the search results are also updated weekly. And so there is no lag. For every weekly update, you see there are new patterns. In case they map to these search topics, they will get added. Alerts can be set. However, there's a sequence of event in this. The database gets updated, alerts get updated, the searches run at the background get updated. So there can be a lag of 1 week, but yes, you can set alerts for the tech topics as well. Moving ahead, let's show you some analytics and insights, what can be done, and we will give you some details about the procedure as well. First is insight at the owner level. I have selected RELX portfolio for this because this is interesting, because based on UN SDGs, those technology topics that generally don't come to mind regarding sustainability, they are included. So when we map RELX portfolio to PS UN SDG, what you see here is the quantitative distribution. Maximum of them map to SDG 9. I welcome you to expand it and check it. It will map to advanced manufacturing. The fact sheet on advanced manufacturing tells you that it is the statement from the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, that states that Industry 4 technologies, the Industrial 4 Revolution technologies like additive manufacturing, digitization, digital security, robotics, they are capable of contributing to SDG 9 specifically. Based on that, these mapping is done. Today, I'll draw your attention to the mapping to SDG 4, quality education, and SDG 1, poverty, zero poverty. When we expand this part, we see that the RELX portfolio maps to natural language processing and cybersecurity under quality education. If I click on this particular tech topic as well, you see you get this option whereby you can drill down to the result list to check the patterns, and you can access the PDF fact sheet. The PDF fact sheet can also be accessed when you click here and you find natural language processing as a tech topic under quality education. Other topics under quality education are cybersecurity, digital learning, natural language processing, and toilet sanitation. I'll speak on this as well. Now, if we move ahead and we check the document, you see that the general scope is provided. It is a subfield of linguistics, computer science, and artificial intelligence as an interaction between computers and human language. Some of the key CPCs and keywords are provided, and this is how they are mapping it. This is the link to the World Bank, where if you click here, this document will pop up where you see that they have stated that this directly contributes to SDG 4, and it has been mentioned that natural language processing, machine learning are contributing to quality education. While I'm showing this, if anyone has gone there and has checked that there is an award-winning e-learning company, so I mentioned that digital learning is also a part of quality education. We have not missed it, so don't worry. Moving ahead, if we check the patterns of RELX that map to this technology topic, we find, yes, natural language search query-based inventions are there. So this seems to be like relevant patent families. When we check the cybersecurity mapping, we do find that yes, they are related to cybersecurity, so this is also a relevant mapping. While we draw your attention, we found a lot of attention is generated because of the mapping of blockchain. There is one patent family in RELX that maps to blockchain, due to which this maps to SDG 1, SDG 12, and others, because blockchain is a part of all these goals. If you want to go to the detail of it, I welcome you to check the fact sheet on blockchain. You will see this is the report from the European Commission, and they have specifically mentioned how the United Nations goals, SDG 1 and others, are getting contributions from blockchain. When we check the mapping, we did find them, and when you check the fact sheet, you will see that blockchain, it is, we already mentioned you, it started as with a digital currency Bitcoin related technology, but now this public ledger based technology has found use in other areas as well. This is a part of SDG 1, 2, 3, 7, 9, and 12. We get this query from our clients that how to get the patent family level mapping, how to find out which patent family is mapped to which particular technology and thus which particular goal under this feature. I'll take this example and try to show you how this can be done. Moving ahead, this one particular patent family of RELX, if we check that and we generate this table, we see there are 6 rows based on which this one patent family maps to SDG 1, 2, 3, 7, 9, and 12. The technology ID is the same, and that is blockchain. This particular table is being generated based on this particular settings that we have. So when we use the vertical grouping for UN SDGs, there is this option path that shows you the SDG and the technology ID to which it maps to. Every row provides you that information. The next column is the technology name, as you see here. And in the measures, you have a list of SDGs, the technologies to which they map to. In the annex, there is an example, a concrete example where one patent family maps to more than one technology and hence more than one goal. I welcome you to check the annex whenever you have the slide deck with you, but let's move ahead. How to deselect technology topics. Now, we have done the mapping based on a framework that we had to keep consistent, but it can happen that you may still not agree with us and you would like to deselect some technology topics when you're doing an analysis at the goal level. How to do that? And I'll use the example of toilet sanitation under a quality education. Why is toilet sanitation included? When you click on it and you move ahead into the fact sheet, you will see that under the indicator of quality education, single-sex basic sanitation facilities has been mentioned. We also provide you the source link that states that this contributes to the SDG 4. Other SDGs that are mentioned, based on our explicit mapping, there are other water-related technologies that are mapped to SDG 3. For example, SDG 3 has water pollution prevention. There is no explicit mention of toilet sanitation under SDG 3, so we have not mapped it, but there will still be patterns that can simultaneously map to toilet sanitation as well as water pollution prevention. A reduction of open defecation is also mentioned, so goal 6 is also contributed by toilet sanitation and the resource link is provided to you. But despite this, the chemical companies can ask us that we are inventing in toilet sanitation, so that means we are contributing in quality education. Practically, probably it is too far-fetched, you may say, but we have to keep the framework consistent. There is an explicit mention of a technology that is patentable, and there is mention that it has been stated by some reference that takes you to the United Nations or its partner organizations. So we have to follow that. You may still not agree with us, which is understandable. For example, there are so many patents in Alzheimer's. Are there any cure for Alzheimer's? Not yet, but still, I do understand the number of levels from patent in Alzheimer's to cure in Alzheimer's and patents in toilet sanitation to quality education is different. And in this case, you may want to deselect this when you're doing the analysis on quality education. How to do that? You uncheck the box here, due to which the rest of the technologies remain included, but toilet sanitation gets removed, and you see the resultant radar chart does not have toilet sanitation anymore. Alternatively, what you can do is you have quality education, and here you can just hide this one and you can move ahead and do your analysis where if hide others is unchecked. So you can hide it here and the radar chart will look like this. Now comes analysis on the individual technology. So can the individual technologies that we have provided, can you do an analysis on that? You can. What we do here is, I still use mental health as in today's topic. So this is mental health I have selected from SDG 3. And what you see here is the typical quality versus quantity chart. There's only one difference. The contribution to competitive impact and contribution to patent asset index, we have removed the contribution from the general technology relevance. Instead of it, we have used the contribution from technology relevance alternative early predictor. The reason for this is these 97 tech topics, we expect to have high patenting activity here, because these tech topics, addressing them, achieving them will lead to achievement of the goals. So it is expected there will be a lot of inventions that will be coming in the near future. And thus, it is possible that even in the first 2 years of the patent family's age, it will get cited. And moreover, for conventional analysis, the kind of averaging that is done for the technology relevance, that works. But in case we are looking for key citations that happen, if you use the general technology relevance, the results get skewed more towards established players. To remove that effect, what we do is we use the technology relevance alternative early predictor here. The result is we see the top 30 patent family, patent owners that are there. The established players are Roche, AbbVie, Sanofi. Roche has around 600 active patent families. AbbVie has around 350. So they can claim that they are inventing and patenting in a difficult field like this, and they are contributing towards SDG 3. Now, more often we have this question like how to identify the small emerging players. One of my clients said, how to identify the golden nuggets. So if that is your interest, that you want to filter out golden nuggets in a technology topic, I guess this is what you're looking for: small emerging players that have path-breaking, patentable or patented inventions in a particular technology, which you want to find out. The underlying hypothesis for these emerging players that you want to find out is that the patents that are path-breaking, that are bringing a completely new kind of invention to a technology, it will get cited as a relevant prior art by subsequent patent applications, even quickly, even in the first 2 years. This is what is the expectation. Another expectation is the small players. They may not have as much of an expansive protection strategy as the established players. For example, small startups in mental health will not be able, probably they will be able to, but we don't know, but probably the strategy won't be protecting the invention as expansively as Roche or AbbVie. And the small players, they will have a more focused approach on a technology topic. Roche's portfolio is diversified. 600 patents in mental health, but still mental health is not the focus for Roche. It has patents in other areas as well. But startups in mental health probably will concentrate only on this topic and some other topics. So how these hypotheses get reflected into the PatentSight software? We use the technology relevance alternative early predictor as an indicator. We exclude the effect of market coverage, and we use the share in total portfolio size of an owner, which is an indicator of the quantitative focus, as one of our standards. Addressing that into mental health, what we can do, the first threshold that I have taken is minimum double-digit active portfolio. So the patent owning entities that have at least 10 patents in this field, I have excluded and filtered them out, included them and filtered them out. Next is the threshold is the set that I have, those that have the minimum average TR-AEP value more than the average of the set. How to get the average of the set? When these are the patent owners that have minimum 10 patent families in mental health, I insert the KPI here and I get the TR-AEP value to be 2.87. Average TR-AEP for these set of patents is this. The patent owning entities whose average TR-AEP is equal to or more than 2.87, I will filter them out. And then I'll rank them by the share of total portfolio size of owner. As soon as I rank them by share of total portfolio size of owner, then Roche will definitely be not on the top, because Roche's focus is not entirely on mental health, but the startups are focused on that. If we now use this process and we check the top 30, I have kept here top 30 because I want to impress upon you that these are not entities we have achieved or we have filtered out by fluke. They are all relevant. So you see that the number of patent families are less than 100. So they don't have as many as the established players have, but their average quality is high. And because we have ranked them like this, they mainly come from the citations. Now we have entries like Mission Therapeutics, As a Neuron, Sage Therapeutics, Aptenics. I have checked the news on some of them and I would like to share this with you. So this is the news about Mission. And in case you're wondering, I took the example of AbbVie so many times to create this connection. You are right, I did that deliberately. Sage Therapeutics, this is good news. This is totally relevant. Moving ahead, As a Neuron. This is a news of 2021. Aptenics as well. I'm giving you so many examples because we have clients from the finance sector and we want to impress upon you that patent analytics can be used as a relevant indicator for finding these golden nuggets. And we expect not only in the near future, but probably it is already ongoing, that soon for any M&A activity, this focus on sustainability will be a factor. We have taken care of that feature using this PS UN SDG project. So this is how you can find the golden nuggets that are worthy of taking note of. Moving ahead, there are some queries that also have come up, which also should be addressed. Like, what about the newly emerging technologies? Are these mapped? And this is a valid question because we are doing explicit mapping. So if some are not mapped, how are we going to check and how the relevance stays? I have one example here where I would like to explain this to you. One of the very in vogue right now is solid oxide fuel cells. This is a good green alternative. And the question is, are these included? Can these be mapped in the PS UN SDG? Because these are not explicitly mentioned. Now, we have defined the SOFC. We have retrieved around 5,232 patent families. And you can have a look. It seems like they're relevant patent families. Next question is, are these mapped? So what we do is we move ahead and we check whether these are mapped or not. So SOFC, the search syntax, and the SDGs, we map them. This is the radar chart, and you see that out of those 5,000, 4,917 are included in the PS UN SDG feature, and they map maximum to SDG 13, SDG 9, and SDG 12. Now, next we expand, we see most of them map to greenhouse gas emission reduction. So this is valid, relevant mapping, and this is where we have to do the most of the homework. We have to keep the search syntax scope open so that any new invention that comes up that can contribute to these specific technologies in this area or to some other area, we don't miss them. This is the reason you will find noise, and this is where we have to have a trade-off between noise and relevance. If we have to keep the scope open, as patent experts, you will probably agree with me, there will be some noise that will creep in. There has to be a trade-off between that. Currently, I am running a tightrope because I have a trade-off of going slow and make myself understandable and yet keep the time so that I don't miss showing everything that I have today. So please bear with me. But yes, we keep this in mind. We have checked the noise that there are in the searches and we want to be transparent to you. Some of these noises that can have a noise can go maximum to 20%. There are patent, and as I discussed, search topics like demographic data analytics, sex disaggregated data management. These are not conventional search topics, but these are based on what we are doing. These are relevant and they have to be included. We have tried our level best to keep the results relevant, but if you have noise, please try and understand that this is the few things that we have to consider so that the noise, we have to live with it. We'll definitely review the searches because if there is some path-breaking invention has come up, which the searches have missed, we will have to add them. As I said, anything that gets updated, we will provide you a prior information and then we will do it. Nothing will get updated without your knowledge. Leo, the product manager who has worked on this project, he is of the opinion that if any client has to check whether there is any keyword or any search syntax that maps to the UN SDG or not, he or she should not need to go through so much of ordeal to check it. There should be a more direct way, and the product team has made it possible. So I should show that as well. So in case you have a search syntax like SOFC, and you create the radar chart, By default, this is kept hidden, but if you check it, the mathematics is done. Out of the 5,000 patents, 315 do not map to the PS UN SDG features, rest of them do map. So yes, point noted, Leo, we can do that like this as well. Now, as I'm discussing this part, there is one thing also we want to make clear here. We do not foresee sharing the search syntaxes as they are in the near future, because this is, first of all, this is a proprietary property, and as you can see, there's a lot of back and forth that has gone in coming up with reliable search syntax. But in case you want to check whether something is a part of this or not, you can check this through this process. You can use some keywords to check it, and if you want, we can always assist you in checking this as well. And in case you come up with some search syntax which you find are explicitly mentioned but we have missed, we welcome you to give your feedback. We will work on them, and if we have missed something, we'll definitely work on it when we next review this. We will do it after UN has reviewed it, so that we know what is to be added in case there is something that requires to be added. All said and done, let's answer the question again. Can patents indicate focus on sustainability? And this thing, I'm extremely proud and humble at the same time to be able to share this with you. This is a concrete example. In 2019, this was tweeted by Dyson that they are sad, but they announced the proposal to end their automotive project. This was announced here. This is 2021, where the interview of Sir James Dyson was published in Forbes. And I remember seeing the episode on James Watt in the series Great Scientist of Britain, where in this episode on James Watt, Sir James Dyson was the presenter. I can picture him saying this, that yes, it's special, with the same glint in his eyes as he was when he presented the episode. And this is what they're saying, that that this is special because of the invention in the battery technologies. It's special. I'll tell you how patents answer that question, provide a proof of that. When we map the Dyson portfolio to PS UN SDG feature, we find that they map to electric vehicles. This is the document, the resource link to the fact sheet on electric vehicles, where you see that it is mentioned that hybrid electric vehicles and electric vehicles contribute directly to SDG 7, affordable and clean energy. And this is published by the United Nations and the Economic Commission for Europe. When we check the patents that map to Dyson's portfolio to electric vehicles, you see that these are patents, these are original inventions by Dyson. And when we look at that, what you see is they are all related to the battery technology. So what he said, it's special, it is special. So when we move and we check it, 31 out of these 40 patent families were filed in or after 2019. That's why we get the result now. They're getting published and we see them. These are, as I showed you, these are original inventions of Dyson. So successful venture or not, this is undeniable, infallible proof that Dyson has invented and sought patent protection for inventions that are novel, that are non-obvious, that are commercially applicable in the field of electric vehicles, and thus they are contributing to sustainability. Dyson has focused on sustainability. They have brought something new so that the world can move forward towards attaining sustainability. This is where we, the CSM, the product team, the IT team, the leader, Andrew himself, we are so proud. This is a project for our clients. We want to assist you as to the best of our abilities in your strive to attain sustainability through your patents and through your inventions. Moving ahead, there is more to come. Please don't leave. Please stay with me. Regarding the geography of it, so United Nations says that it is upon the countries to strategize so that these goals are achieved. Can patents indicate something there? If you move ahead, we check it. These are sustainable patents that have been mapped to PSU and SDG feature. The world map makes a comeback to the charts after a long time. What you see is priority in, so the geography is priority filing. This is citation-based indicator. The shading is by citation. What I'm trying to show you here is I have used priority in. You can also use invented in, depending upon how you want to define the origin of the inventions that are sustainable. Sustainable inventions based on their citation. For example, those that are original priority in US, if they're getting cited heavily, that means those inventions are relevant to the field. and they are extremely important in contributing to sustainability. That's the hypothesis. This was provided as a feedback from the OECD event, where we had first revealed this procedure that we are trying to bring in early this year. And they asked, can we do citation-based mapping? You can do that in PatentSight. Based on that, if you and in case you're wondering about these countries having priority for sustainable inventions, I have provided in the annex the 15 patent families that are having priority in Algeria and that they map to the SDGs. Moving ahead, this is ranking by citations. The threshold that I have used is the minimum priority filings being 1,000 in any authority. And then what you see is the number of patents that have priority filings in each authority, but the ranking is by the citation. So with 4,600 patent families that have priority in Denmark, they are most cited compared to the ones that are there. We always say it's not only about the quality, but also the quantity. China has these many priority filings, but there are others who are at the top, who have patents that have priority in these authorities, and they're getting cited. They are mapped to the UN SDGs. This is ranking by citation. You can also do the ranking by quantity. So this is ranking by quantity. This is the top 10 priority authorities of the sustainable inventions by the mapping to the PS UN SDG feature. What I have done is I have kept the bar size of all of them the same. Obviously, they don't have the same number of patent families, but what you see here is that they have, for a comparative comparison of the quantitative focus on the SDGs, we have sliced them by the UN SDGs. Obviously, they have overlaps. One patent family can map to more than one technology. One technology can map to more than one goal. So obviously, there are overlaps, but still keeping this in mind, if you have a look at it, you get some key insights from this sample chart. Maximum proportion of patents in these priority authorities are in SDG 9. Which is expected. It is industry related SDG, so there will be more inventions there, more patents there. Among them, Germany has the maximum quantitative representation, quantitative amount of patents as priority filings in SDG 9. USA has the least amount of proportion of patents in SDG 6 among all these authorities. SDG 6 is clean water and sanitation. Interestingly, Russia has a much more proportion of priority filings in SDG 2 related patents compared to the others. There are other sources that provide you the ranking of authorities. One of them is SDG dashboard. I have provided a sample slide in the annex where you can check them. Based on voluntary data that is provided by international organization, countries are ranked. You can check and compare their ranking based on the patent analytics based ranking and draw your insights. Moving ahead, this is my favorite part. This is what I wanted to share with my clients. And so when this was announced, I thank the client who kept this as a secret, because I, being me, could not stop my excitement when this was announced and when I first checked it. This year's Nobel in Chemistry in 2021 was awarded to Benjamin List. He's from Mulheim, Germany, Institute of Coal, and David Macmillan from Princeton University, USA, for the development of asymmetric organocatalysis. This is the process for which this year's Nobel was announced in chemistry. The press release of the Nobel Committee states that this is a new tool and this has a great impact on pharmaceutical research, and it has made chemistry greener. Now, if it happens, it has made chemistry greener. Is it possible that there is something that is sustainability related to that? In case that is something that we are eager to know, I just couldn't stop myself from checking it. So I did it, and I'd like to share the results with you. What I did is I defined the asymmetric organocatalysis. This is not actually a very new process. I think this was published for the first time around the time of graphene when it was discovered. So really not that recent so I expected a lot of activity in research as well as in patents to continue, which I saw. And then I tried to find out the Nobel laureates as the original inventor. I did find them. And when we map it to the UN SDGs, 3 out of 7 map. One of them maps to sustainable fashion and textiles, one of them mapped to sustainable industry, and one of them mapped to diabetes. If you check the pattern families, this is the one that mapped to sustainable fashion and textiles. Immobilization of catalyst on textile materials, obtained textile materials, and use of the seed materials. This is textile supported chiral molecules. So what the Nobel said, making chemistry greener, that has been used in making textiles, and that is patented, and we have retrieved it. The one that maps to SDG 9, chiral imidophosphatase and derivatives thereof. You see here, these are also, if you check the reactions that have been mentioned in the claims, Friedel-Crafts reaction, Diel-Solder reaction, they're already chemistry manufacturing processes. This that maps to diabetes, bile acid derivative, pharmaceutical acceptable salt, and if you check the IPC, it has IPC related to glucose metabolism, and the claims mention blood glucose metabolism. So yes, I was dying to say this. I'm so happy I'm being able to share this with you. The Nobel Committee, the UN SDGs, and LexisNexis PatentSight all think alike. Had I been in school at that time, there was this very famous proverb: "Great men think alike," but now it's like "Great people think alike." Gender equality. But this is one of the most happy insights that I found, and I'm very happy being able to share it with you. This is what it looks like when we try to see the relevance of the project that we have done. Moving ahead, there are the annex, as I said, in the geography. You see that this is the priority of Algeria patents that map to UN SDGs. One of them that is cerebral palsy, they map to assistive technology and medical prosthetics, and this has a priority in Algeria, as you see from this Passanet. This is SDG in dashboard that I said. They are not an official monitoring tool, but they take the publicly available data and they provide you the ranking. You can check the ranking and you can check the world map like this and compare it with ours and draw your insights. Combination of individual technologies can be done. So cybersecurity in healthcare, you can start from the ones we have provided you, and you see that you do get quite good results in this also. The example of one patent family mapping to more than one technology field and more than one goal, you see there's an example provided to you. I have been able to complete everything that I wanted to share with you, and I hope I didn't go too fast, I didn't go too slow, and I did make sense. If there are any questions, let me check. I did find a question. Is the patent language taken into account in search topics? We have the access to machine translation of non-English patent documents. And when the search has been conducted, it has been conducted in the translated documents as well. So patent language is taken into account in this way in the search topics. And I think there are quite good results based on that. But in case you find that there is something that we need to work on, I welcome your feedback on this as well. Any feedback, and we welcome you to try and use this feature as much as you can. The day this feature makes its presence in one of your reports, it will be the happiest day of my life. But this is, we are very excited. We have done the homework. We want to assist you in patent analytics in using this as a feature to be able to see who is contributing to sustainability, how they're contributing to sustainability, and why we are saying that they are contributing to sustainability. So if there are any questions, we can answer them now, or you can reach out to us later, whichever you feel comfortable with. I guess the handout will be available to you. Whatever I have shown this will be slide deck will be available to you, and obviously you'll also get a recording, as Ali said. In case we have time, there's one thing that I like to discuss is if it ever happens that when you're doing this analysis and you do come across that things that you feel should not be included, some of the patents should not be included and some should be included, you can always use an and not on the patents and do your analysis. So these are the details, nitty-gritties which you can deal with if you want, but these can all be addressed by the general patenting analysis procedure. There is nothing that can't be done. The customization is available to the core, and we will be also looking into things that the thing is we have tried to exclude totally unrelated patents, but if there are still, then there are different ways with which you can address this issue as well. Are there any more questions? Still there are 5 minutes left, so in case we don't have any more questions, maybe we can give back some time to you. You're welcome. Do you search the full text or only abstract and claims? Depending on the strategy, as you saw that some of them are so newly emerging fields, they might not have even dedicated classifications. So in that case, we have to go to the description as well and include the full text as an and operator on some of the keywords, because all of these search topics don't have dedicated IPCs or CPCs. So yes, depending on the search strategy as well as the search topic that we are trying to generate the search syntax on, we not only use the search on abstract on titles and claims, but also we go to description, but not without using an and operator on the keywords in title, abstract, or claims. So yeah, depending on the strategy, it's done. Thank you. Am I missing on questions or something? I don't think so. Yes, the recording of this presentation will be available to you, don't worry. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you liked the presentation. We are very excited about this project. As I said, this is for our clients, and we'll be very happy if we can make it as usable as possible for our clients. Will it be possible to get more comprehensive search strategy? You can check it, because as I said, there is an entire SOFC that I had to define to check whether they map or not. So you can use your search strategy. If you want assistance from us, we can do it for you. We can do it with you. We can assist you in that, so that you can check it depending upon how you want to do it. So. Did I miss any question?
I think you covered all of them, Sarbani.
I did.
Thank you again so much for your great presentation. And as she mentioned, the recording and slides will be available via email later today. Thank you so much for attending, and thank you so much, Sarbani, for a great presentation.
Thank you. I hope this was 1 hour well spent for you, and we look forward to your feedback. Thanks a lot.